to that one. I'm not going to explain substitute. We already did that. So I'm just explaining all the substitutes with respect to price elasticity, right? So if your product has substitute, so you are in a market of more elastic demand. It means you cannot control the price. Rather, price control your business. If the market price increase or decrease, there is a threat that you will lose, a great share of market share of your business from the market, right? Now, what about the eggs? Do the eggs have substitute? I'm not talking about chicken eggs versus duck eggs. I'm just talking about just eggs. Can you replace eggs with someone else? Something else? Sorry. Answer is no. It means if you are in an egg business, it means whether you increase or decrease the price, you will see a small changes quantity demanded. Still people have to buy eggs, right? So less elastic because demand of butter as eggs are food without clothes substituted. We'll explain this in the definition of market as well. So keep this, remember this example till we explain over there. Now, necessities versus luxuries. What are the necessities? Like food, right? And what are the luxuries? That depends from person to person. For example, having a jet for Bill Gates is not a luxury. Maybe it's necessary because he need to move continent to continent to look his business. Similarly with the Apple, they needs to move to China and then California, so they have their own private jet. For them, these are necessities, but for me, it is luxury. So you need to keep understand that luxuries also depends from person to person. Also necessities from person to person. Okay. So here, when doctors they increase their fees, people will not change number of time visits to doctor dramatically as compared to the increase in prices of car. Because car is considered luxury, you can live without that, but you cannot live without disease. You need to cure your disease, so you need to visit the doctor. So if you compare car quantity demanded versus the quantity demanded of the services of doctor, you will find that doctors quantity demanded, they are less elastic versus the cars. Similarly, for long distance travelers, car may not be the luxury, it may be necessity. But if you talk about which cars, for example, sports car, then it's definitely a luxury. If you say that no, Bugatti or Lamborghini or Ferrari, then definitely it's a luxury, right? Similarly, like we talked about in our earlier example, bread. If your business is making bread, if the price of bread in the market increase, people will not stop consuming bread. They still have to buy it. Necessity. Then the demand for bread is less elastic, right? Any question? Now, let's talk about the definition of the market, which means how we draw boundaries of the market, what is narrow or broad. So if we talk about definition of the market as broad, for example, food, we talk about in our First example, eggs. Broad market. We are not talking about bird eggs, chicken egg, duck egg, right? We're talking about just eggs. So it means it's a food, broad category. So do eggs have substitute? No close substitute. It means demand is inelastic, right? Similarly with the ice cream, if we narrow down the ice cream category, then it's a narrow down category of food, right? We have this substitute, yes, frozen yogurt. It means its demand is more elastic. And if you further narrow down this ice cream market, vanilla ice cream, it has close substitute, yes. We have strawberry flavor, chocolate flavor, mango flavor, right? Then demand for vanilla ice cream is even more elastic. Understand? And if I say that, let me just here go white screen. So if I say that demand for fruits are elastic or inelastic, what would be your answer? Jacob. Demand for fruit, elastic or inelastic?
Demand for fruit is inelastic.
Why is that?
Because it's a broad
close
category.
Right?
Yeah.
Of fruit. But if I say that the demand for apple is elastic or inelastic as compared to fruit, then definitely you will say that we have more substitute for apple rather than just fruit. So fruit is a broad category. Well, inside fruit we have narrow category. The more you narrow down, it means more substitutes are going to be available. It means more elasticity of your demand tend towards elastic. Understand? And then time horizon. Number 4, time horizon. So when price of gasoline rises, demand for gasoline falls only a few months. But as time passed, because fuel is a major part of consumer budget, people will tend to buy more fuel efficient cars or ultimately switch to public transport. Demand of gasoline falls substantially. Now, if the gasoline price is changed for 1 week, would it affect your demand for petrol or gasoline to decrease or increase? Your answer is no change. Why? It's just for 1 week. Who cares? I'm not gonna replace my car for just 1 week change, right? So if the price of the petrol is changed for 2 years, now you will think about that. For 2 years, it's gonna be a huge budget for me. You know, my traveling cost is gonna be huge. So then you think about changing your car. And if too much, then you start thinking about using subways, public transportation, right? So time horizon also play an important role in elasticity of demand. So can you give me another example of this time horizon?
Like medical products, as we saw for the masks during the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes, you're right. For 1 week or maybe 1 month, the price of the masks skyrocketed, like 20 yuan per mask in Shanghai, or maybe a 50 yuan per mask. But now, for a longer period of time, now it's like 1 yuan, 1 mask. Right? For a longer period of time, but for a shorter period of time, it is inelastic. But for longer period of time, it shows elastic behavior, right? So goods tend to have more elastic demand over longer time horizon. So let's talk about summary here, what we learned. So in order to have elastic demand or more elastic demand, the product must be having more or larger number of close substitute. In order to have more elastic demand, the good must be luxury. In order to have more elastic demand, the definition of the market must be narrowed down. Fourth one is, in order to have more elastic demand, the time horizon must be longer. Any question? If no, then watch and tell whether the demand for gasoline for her is elastic or inelastic. So I have a very short video here. I'm going to play that.
Hi everybody, Dr. Glasson here for my weekly fill-up on my car. You may have noticed that gas prices tend to fluctuate a lot. Today, I'm looking at $272.9 a gallon, and the question is, am I going to react very much to that? One thing that I didn't address in my video that you watched on elasticity is the characteristics that determine elasticity of demand. One of them is the product a luxury or necessity? Well, for me, I need to drive to work, I need to drive to get my daughter to school, I need to drop her off at the babysitter, so I have to have the gasoline. So my demand would be inelastic. The second one would be, are there a lot of substitutes for gasoline? And frankly, for my old car, 1997, it's not going to run on anything but gas, so I don't have any substitute goods that I could purchase. The third one would be, what's the share in my budget? Now, for other people, this may be different if they make less money than I do, but I do have a doctorate, I do have a pretty good job, and the gas prices aren't a huge share in my budget, so it doesn't make a big difference when the prices fluctuate a bit. The last one is time. How much time is available to make a purchase? When I am running on empty, I don't have a lot of time to think about it, so I need to get my gasoline, and I'm not going to worry about the price. So you tell me, is my demand going to be elastic or inelastic?
So what is the answer here? Elastic or inelastic for her demand?
Inelastic.
Inelastic, right? And you have noticed that she explained through all our characteristics or determinants of elasticity. So she have more time,